So Miss Nadiya can interrupt anyone that she wants, but when somebody interrupts her, she wants to walk over them. That connotation of initiating some form of violence whilst debating is not needed, it's ridiculous, and you really need to calm down, Miss Nadiya, because you seem like you were the firecracker, and I was just like, take it easy.
Proper example.
No. It does not matter. It is a.
We don't know the facts on that. If you're gonna say something, use a personal.
Today, behave yourself.
Behave your fucking self. You keep trying me, I'm gonna walk over there. Stop fucking playing with me. Stop fucking playing with me.
Bravo.
He keep trying me. He keep trying. Check him. Don't check me.
Hey guys, it's Ronnie. Hope you guys are all doing well today. So we have the Bkchat Nyc episode 2 that was released last night, Wednesday evening, and we have the first thing that I realised was that they changed the music back to what it used to be. So appreciation, because it feels like you guys are listening to your viewers and subscribers and reviewers and so forth. So we do appreciate that because it makes it more of an easier transition for us from London to New York. And I feel like this was an interesting episode, more so because it did bring out a lot in the characters than we've seen ever before. Valsia is a disappointment to me personally. I feel like she was somebody who would be able to handle themselves in a very articulate way when it comes to debate, and she would somebody who come off as well mannered and, you know, be very coherent and space out her opinions and her thoughts in a pragmatic way. But that was completely thrown out the window, and this girl was mumbling and jumbling, the crank and crank. I don't know what was coming out of her mouth.
Or whatever, but like saying if we're discussing.
Number one, that she couldn't even talk properly. I think she was just trying to get too many things into one, and she just kind of blurted it out. Number two, it seems like she wasn't able to understand the whole idea of you don't want your child around certain people, but at the end of the day there are external forces regardless, which means you're not in control of them, and things will happen in that way anyways.
If we're parenting our child, we're co-parenting. I don't give a fuck who you're with, but she better not have a say on our child. If she comes.
And she wasn't able to understand and comprehend that, and I felt like that was basic understanding, basic knowledge, and somebody that, and just the way she portrayed herself that I took in her teaser, in the reviews, in the teasers and so forth, she came across to me as someone who was very clerical, and, you know, she's very on point, you know, very studious, but that whole image I had kind of just thrown out, because I was thinking, what are you doing? Like, you're mumbling and jumbling, you're talking nonsense, your words are going everywhere, your thoughts are everywhere, nothing makes sense, nothing streamlined, you know, you can't even comprehend the fact that your child, you know, is able to handle other people via the father. So it didn't make sense to me. I mean, then we have Esther who literally took in charge of this show.
That's something that you're going to have to deal with emotionally. When you and him have said it's over, emotionally you detach yourself. So you shouldn't really give a toss about who's around. More
so, I think, because as Esther she naturally has a loud voice and speaks loud. And second, because she actually does have direct experience in this. Yes, Esther has experience in everything, as she says, but in this topic, she obviously definitely does, because she has a child and so forth. And it was very nice and very warming to see somebody from the London cast into New York. I think that bridge was definitely a good idea, a great marketing tool, and it worked. And you kind of, as I was watching her talking, I was like, hold on, but you actually miss her talking. Like, you actually miss her talking because you get used to it. You kind of brings you the eerie feels of, you know, back in London and whatever and so forth. So I feel like she was making a lot of good points, and not only that she was making a lot of good points, she was going straight to them. Like, she was very direct. Very direct. She was not beating around the corner, taking ages and talking like sometimes she does. She was getting right to the core message, and I think that's because in this experience she has more experience than anything else she stated, because she's got a child, she's obviously got her ex-husband, she's got an ex-boyfriend or whatever back in London, so she was able to relate to the conversation quite well. And we have Ewan. Now, I feel like I did say in my initial reviews of this program that I was very keen to see Ewan. I was very keen to see how he handled himself. I feel like he can be quite calm, and he was coming with the facts and the stats and all.
Statistics. Raising a child as a single mother is the worst thing you can do for the child's upbringing, as far as its potential for criminality, as far as its earning potential, as far as its like health, as far as its well-being.
All that, and I comprehend them for that, because when it comes to debate, stats are always very useful because they can support your argument no matter what. And Rashad got a bit defensive because he's obviously brought up by single mother, but, you know, he was trying to say that there obviously are exceptions, and I do feel like now, just because he's stating stats doesn't mean that he's immediately more clearer than everybody else in that room debating. No, it just means that he has stats to support his points, which are obviously needed. So I did like the way he was talking, I did like the way he aligned his thoughts and how he was able to counteract people. And speaking of counteracting, I feel like Nyc is somebody who counteracts a lot of people on the show, which shows that she actually does listen to people in debating. When it comes to debating, in order to win a debate, in order to win an argument, 70% has to be of listening, 30% has to be of arguing or debating back. more so sometimes. And I feel like she actually does listen to the people, because she just small little things where she remembers what people say, and she says, you know, I want to pick you up on that point, I want to pick you up on that point. She's counteracting. I feel like Ewan does the same thing. They're both quite of a mirror of each other in terms of how to actually handle yourselves in a debate, and how to be very courteous and, you know, be very chill and not really get upset or angry or raise your tone or, you know, go absolutely crazy. So I feel like these two are mirroring each other in terms of how you should be behaving in a debate room. So hats up to those two. We have Osaze as well, who's in that circumference of people where I feel like he was bringing in different perceptions, which a lot of people on that show don't do.
We want to stake our claim, we want to have ownership, but we also have to recognize when we're in the wrong. And that's just for the sake of the kid. Like, if I'm not a suitable parent and someone else is, he's a better dad, he's got his shit together, why would I not want him to raise my kid? It's purely ego. If I get my shit together, then yeah, I should have a say. But if my shit is wrong.
For example, the ego-driven point was a very important point, which I feel like people wouldn't really think of. But I feel like Osaze just pauses, steps back, and, you know, really does just circle every other perception that could be out there. And the example of, I might be a beat down dad, that guy might be a better dad than me, therefore he should look after children. That in itself means that obviously he's not really thinking with his emotions, with his ego. He's letting what's happening best for the child that's meant to happen. Like, regardless of whether you want yourself to be there or not, if it's not good for the child, go for that. So I feel like he was thinking about different perceptions, not bringing in his emotions, not being heedless in terms of his acts as well. So he did stand up, and he obviously was, you know, showing a lot of passion and ambition. I don't feel like that was him being aggressive. I feel like there's a fine line between the two, but I don't think he was being aggressive. I think it was just a lot of passion, and I feel like he was one of the top 3 people, in my opinion, who was making sense. Obviously, this is my review, so I did hats off to Nyc, hats off to Ewan, and hats off to Osaze. I think those 2 were doing quite well. Nadiya to me was a firecracker. Like, the point when she said, "Don't even walk over to you," that's when I kind of lost interest in her as a character. Because first and foremost, in episode 1 you were doing team furniture, and now in this episode you're happily walking over to people and doing what? Let me know, Nadiya, so we can try to find out what you're doing. Really and truly, you're not doing anything. So I don't understand what that was. That initiation of kind of violence made me feel very uncomfortable, and it really does piss me off. So hopefully I won't see that in the future episodes, because it's just annoying. Idris. Now, my guy Idris is acting like he's Martin Luther King boy. My guy got up and was preaching.
It don't make a difference according to age.
Why you?
What I'm telling you is that I don't need somebody to tell me I'm a fit parent. As long as I'm taking care of my child and they're healthy, it's fine. Even as a future parent, I don't need you guys to come and tell me how to raise my child, how to dress them, how to bathe them, what language they should speak. I shouldn't have to tell them what it is.
I'm thinking to myself, you're in a room, you know, there's only 10 people. What are you doing? Because you're doing the absolute most. So I don't know what was going on there. But this guy got upset. You can't call me father, you can't do this, whatever. And I'm just thinking, ease up, calm down. Like, you're doing too much. You're trying to be Lucas Jr. Just please, just allow it, because we don't need that. And we have Mr. Flea who nearly fell asleep. I don't know what this guy was doing, you know. Who hired this fool?
Woman, because I don't really know. You are. I don't really know.
Because this guy, he nearly closed his eyes, and, you know, and Henny was like, "Are you alright?" And I was thinking, let us know, because I don't know what you were doing. And I feel like, again, Henny was also somebody who was very clear and coherent again. Similar to Esther, both of them were really on point when it came to the episode, and I think that's more so because they have direct experience, they have children, they can relate to this like that more than anybody in the show. So I feel like these 2 people were good people to tune into. A lot of different people on this particular debate that I actually liked, whether it was Henny, whether it was Esther, whether it was Nyc, Ewan, or Osaze. I feel like at times, you know, Rashad was good as well. But people were able to maintain their tone and themselves, such as Nyc and Ewan, which I feel like should be emulated with the other cast. And Nadiya, I don't know what she was doing. Firecracker doing the absolute most. Idris was just, you're not Martin Luther King, you're Lucas Jr., sit your ass down. Flea was about to sleep, I don't know what was going on there. Farsia is a disappointment to me. I feel like she's somebody who would handle herself properly, but evidently not. She's not able to speak even clearly as well, and it was just a bit weird. So that was my smaller review of this particular episode. Very interesting, because I feel like it was, and they worked out, I'm not gonna lie to you, first 10 minutes ish, I kind of lost a bit of interest, but I pulled myself into it, and I did like the fact that they actually did listen to themselves more, and I feel like conversation kind of flowed more. People were interrupting themselves, but I feel like there was a better flow in New York than London. That's how I feel. I feel like there's just a better flow between the cast in terms of dialogue, in terms of the conversation progressing, in terms of the conversation shifting into different other topics that relate to the main topic. I feel like there was a better flow in the New York cast than the London, and that in the New York cast, people like to listen more, such as people like me and you, and they listen more to other people in order to counteract them and so forth. That isn't done as much in the London cast. I feel like people just jump onto different areas to try and counteract, but you're not really counteracting, you're just jumping on different topics. So I feel like that is something that I've seen in this particular show in comparison to the Bkchat London cast. But yeah, that's my smaller review of this particular episode. What did you guys think of it? Did you like me? Did you like Ewan in the stats, or does Ewan annoy you? Because sometimes he annoys people as well. Because he does interrupt people sometimes, which kind of is annoying. Or what about Osaze? What about Idris and his speech? Does Nadiya annoy you? Is Vasia mumbling and jumbling and I don't know what she was doing? Let me know. What were your thoughts on Esther being back? Did you miss her as well? Let me know in the comment box below. Hit me up on my Instagram and my website down below as well. Subscribe to my channel if you guys want to. Thank you guys for watching, and I will most definitely catch you guys soon.